The red shoes and a cloud of doubt. The airport hummed with life as the morning sun rose over the horizon, casting golden streaks through the terminal's expansive glass windows. Anna Hensley, a seasoned flight attendant with over 8 years of experience, rolled her compact suitcase through the busy corridors. At 32, Anna had navigated the intricacies of her job with confidence, her life dictated by the rhythm of departures and arrivals. Her sharp navy blue uniform was impeccably pressed, her polished shoes clicking in time with her determined stride. As she neared the crew check-in counter, her attention was pulled toward a commotion in the nearby boarding line. Amidst the sea of weary travelers, a boy no older than 8 spun and danced with innocent abandon. His vibrant red sneakers, bright against his plain blue shirt and jeans, marked him as a beacon of youthful joy in the otherwise muted terminal. His laughter rang out, a sound so pure it momentarily silenced the din around him. Anna smiled at the sight, a warm feeling spreading through her. But the scene shifted as a man, presumably the boy's guardian, leaned down, whispering something into the boy's ear. The child froze. His shoulders drooped, and his carefree smile vanished, replaced by the telltale shimmer of unshed tears. The man, visibly frustrated, grabbed tissues from his sling bag and wiped the boy's face with brusque efficiency. "Stop crying," he hissed, his voice carrying just enough for Anna to catch. "You're too old for this." The man's curt demeanor unsettled Anna, but she shook the feeling away. She had seen countless frazzled families during her years of service, parents overwhelmed by the stress of travel and children acting out under pressure. It was an unfortunate but common dynamic. Pushing the interaction to the back of her mind, Anna made her way to the counter, where her colleague Sophia was waiting with a smile. "Morning, Anna," Sophia greeted cheerfully, adjusting the strap of her shoulder bag. "Ready for another day in paradise?" "Always," Anna replied, forcing the earlier scene from her thoughts. "Buenos Aires layover dinner still on?" "You bet," Sophia said with a wink. "I've been dreaming of steak and wine all week." Their lighthearted chatter was interrupted by the arrival of the rest of the crew, followed by the captain, a stoic man whose air of authority immediately commanded attention. The pre-flight briefing was routine: clear skies, safety protocols, and a reaffirmation of their collective professionalism. Yet, even as Anna nodded along, she found her thoughts straying back to the boy with the red shoes. She shook her head slightly, chastising herself for lingering on something so trivial. By the time the briefing concluded, Anna was fully immersed in her duties. The next 90 minutes passed in a blur of meticulous preparation. She inspected safety equipment, verified oxygen tanks, and ensured every seat was clean and stocked with the necessary materials. The comforting rhythm of her tasks helped center her, allowing her to refocus on the day ahead. As the boarding announcement echoed through the terminal, Anna took her position by the aircraft door. "Good morning." She greeted each passenger with a practiced smile, checking boarding passes and directing travelers to their seats. The line moved steadily, a mixture of business people, families, and solo travelers filing past her. Then they appeared. The man and the boy from earlier stood before her, the vibrant red shoes unmistakable. Up close, the boy seemed even smaller, his wide eyes filled with a quiet sadness that tugged at Anna's heart. The man handed over their boarding passes without a word. Anna's sharp eyes quickly scanned them. "Row 18, seats A and B," before handing them back. "Welcome aboard," she said warmly, her gaze lingering on the boy. "Have a great flight." The man muttered a curt thank you and guided the boy down the aisle. Anna watched them go, her earlier unease returning with renewed intensity. She brushed it off, attributing it to her overactive imagination. Yet, as she continued to greet passengers, she couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. When the initial rush of boarding subsided, Anna began her walkthrough, assisting passengers with their luggage and ensuring compliance with safety protocols. As she approached row 18, she found the boy clutching the in-flight magazine, his small fingers tracing the colorful pictures with fascination. "Is this your first time flying?" Anna asked gently, kneeling slightly to meet his eye level. The boy nodded, his expression brightening for a moment. "Yes, it's my first time." Anna's smile widened. "That's exciting. We have special surprises for first-time flyers. Would you like me to bring you something later?" The boy's face lit up. "Yes, please," he exclaimed, turning to the man. "Can I, Dad? Please." The man's jaw tightened. "No, Liam. Our luggage is already full. You don't need more things to carry." "But my hands are empty," the boy protested, raising his small hands as if to demonstrate. Anna felt a pang of sympathy as the man's expression darkened. "No, Liam," he said firmly. "That's final." Sensing the tension, Anna quickly intervened. "How about I bring you some snacks later?" she suggested, her tone soothing. Liam's shoulders relaxed slightly, and he nodded. "Okay," he said quietly, a small smile tugging at his lips. As Anna moved on, she couldn't shake the image of Liam's crestfallen expression. Something about the dynamic between him and the man felt off, but there was no concrete reason for her to intervene, so she tucked the thought away and continued her duties. The plane taxied down the runway, lifting smoothly into the air as the morning sun bathed the cabin in a warm glow. For most passengers, it was just another flight. But for Anna, an undercurrent of unease lingered, its source sitting quietly in row 18. Little did she know, the day would take a turn that would test every ounce of her training, instincts, and courage. Silent signals and unspoken fears. The aircraft hummed steadily as it reached cruising altitude, the seatbelt sign chiming off with a soft ding. Passengers shifted in their seats, some settling in for naps while others browsed the in-flight entertainment. Anna moved purposefully through the aisle, performing her customary checks with practiced ease. Yet her mind remained restless, drawn repeatedly to row 18. Liam sat quietly by the window, his small form slouched against the seat. His red shoes peeked out from under the seat in front of him, their brightness a stark contrast to his subdued demeanor. The man beside him, Mark, as Anna had learned from the boarding pass, was engrossed in his phone, barely acknowledging the boy's presence. As Anna approached, she noticed Liam clutching the safety instruction card with both hands, his eyes scanning the colorful diagrams with curiosity. "Dad, what do these pictures mean?" he asked, his voice soft but eager. Mark glanced up briefly, irritation flashing across his face. "Not now, Liam," he muttered, returning to his phone. "Please," Liam persisted, his fingers tracing the illustrated emergency procedures. "I just want to know what to do if something happens." Anna paused a few rows away, her trained instincts tingling at the boy's innocent question and the man's cold dismissal. Mark's jaw tightened visibly, and his voice dropped to a harsher tone. "I said not now. Just sit still and behave." The boy's curiosity deflated in an instant. His small shoulders slumped as he lowered the card to his lap. Anna felt a wave of unease ripple through her. Over the years, she'd encountered all types of family dynamics. But this interaction felt distinctly wrong, unnaturally strained. Still, there was no justification for interfering, no clear sign that anything was amiss beyond a tense guardian-child relationship. Anna's attention snapped back to her duties as the captain's voice crackled over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached cruising altitude. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. Our crew will begin the meal service shortly." Returning to the galley, Anna joined Sophia, who was unpacking trays of pre-portioned meals with deft hands. "Everything okay out there?" Sophia asked, her voice tinged with curiosity. Anna hesitated, debating whether to share her concerns. "Row 18, she finally said, keeping her voice low. "Something feels off. That little boy, Liam. He seems scared." Sophia frowned. "The one with the red shoes. I noticed him during boarding. Adorable kid. What's wrong?" "It's hard to explain. Anna admitted, rubbing her temples. The man he's with, Mark. I think he's cold, dismissive, and Liam keeps calling him Dad, but something about it doesn't feel right. Sophia glanced toward the cabin, her brows knitting together in thought. Could just be nerves. First-time flyers can be tricky, and some parents don't handle stress well. Maybe, Anna conceded, though the knot of doubt in her chest remained. But I'm keeping an eye on them. As the meal service began, Anna and Sophia worked their way through the cabin, the clatter of carts mingling with polite exchanges and murmured thanks. When they reached row 18, Anna hesitated before addressing Mark and Liam. "Would you like a meal?" she asked, her tone warm and professional. Mark glanced at the tray options with mild disinterest. "I'll take the chicken," he said curtly. Anna turned to Liam, who had perked up slightly at her presence. "And for you, Liam, we have chicken or pasta." Liam's eyes lit up. "Pasta, please," he said eagerly. Mark frowned. "He doesn't need a full meal. He can share mine." "But I'm hungry, Dad," Liam protested softly. Anna felt a flicker of anger rise in her chest. "It's no trouble," she interjected gently. "I'll bring an extra tray." Before Mark could argue, she placed the meal in front of Liam, who smiled gratefully. As Anna moved on, she couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was deeply wrong. Hours passed, and the cabin settled into a lull. The hum of the engines provided a steady backdrop as passengers drifted off to sleep or lost themselves in movies. Anna busied herself in the galley, restocking supplies and preparing for the next round of service. She had almost managed to push her unease aside when a soft voice startled her. "Miss." Turning, Anna found Liam standing at the edge of the galley, his small frame almost swallowed by the oversized aisle. His red shoes scuffed the carpet as he shifted nervously, his hands clasped in front of him. "Liam," Anna said, crouching to his level. "Are you okay? Do you need something?" The boy hesitated, glancing over his shoulder as if afraid of being caught. "Can I sit here with you?" he whispered, his voice barely audible. "I don't want to go back." Anna's heart sank. She studied his face, noting the faint tear streaks on his cheeks. "Why don't you want to sit with your dad?" she asked gently. Liam fidgeted, his eyes darting to the ground. "He's not my dad," he said finally, his voice trembling. "He said I have to call him that, but he's not. He gets mad when I don't." Anna's pulse quickened. She placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Who is he, Liam? Do you know his name?" Liam nodded. "Uncle Mark," he whispered. "He said I'll see my mom soon, but she wasn't at the airport like he said." A chill ran down Anna's spine. Before she could ask more, Mark appeared at the end of the aisle, his expression darkening as he spotted Liam. "There you are," he said, his tone sharp. "What are you doing back here?" Liam flinched, stepping closer to Anna. I was asking for cookies," he stammered. Anna rose to her full height, her protective instincts kicking in. "It's fine," she said evenly, her gaze steady on Mark. "Liam just wanted a snack. I'll bring him back to his seat." Mark's jaw tightened, but he forced a smile. "Of course. Thank you." As Anna escorted Liam back to row 18, her mind raced. The pieces of the puzzle weren't adding up, and the more she observed, the more convinced she became that Liam was in danger. Back in the galley, Anna shared her concerns with Sophia. "He said Mark isn't his dad," Anna whispered, her voice taut with urgency. "He called him Uncle Mark, and he's terrified." Sophia's eyes widened. "That's serious," she said, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial tone. "What do we do?" Anna bit her lip, her thoughts swirling. "I need to tell the captain. Something isn't right, and we can't ignore it." Sophia nodded. "Do it. I'll keep an eye on them." Heart pounding, Anna picked up the in-flight phone and dialed the cockpit. When the captain's voice crackled through the receiver, she relayed everything: the boy's fear, his admission, and her growing suspicion. The line went silent for a moment before the captain responded, his tone grim. "Thank you, Anna. I'll alert air traffic control and request a diversion. Keep an eye on them, but don't raise suspicion. We'll handle this." As Anna hung up the phone, a wave of determination washed over her. She knew the next few hours would be critical, not just for Liam's safety, but for uncovering the truth about the man in row 18. The hidden truth emerges. The aircraft descended into a calm, steady rhythm as it cruised thousands of feet above the earth. The cabin, a bubble of controlled silence, carried the muffled hum of engines, the occasional chime of seatbelt signs, and the quiet rustle of passengers shifting in their seats. Yet for Anna, the world felt louder than ever. Her heart raced, and her mind spun with questions, all circling back to one boy and his vivid red shoes. Liam. Every interaction with the child had only deepened Anna's suspicion that something was amiss. The way he clung to her words, the flickers of fear that clouded his bright eyes, and most telling, the quiet confession that Mark wasn't his father. It all screamed that the boy was in danger. And Anna, trained to prioritize safety, knew she couldn't let it slide. In the galley, Anna tightened her grip on the in-flight phone, her fingers trembling slightly as she connected with the captain. The voice on the other end was calm, but edged with tension. "We've received confirmation," the captain said, his tone low and urgent. "A missing child alert has been issued for an 8-year-old boy matching Liam's description. His mother reported him kidnapped 2 days ago in Miami. Airport security footage shows him leaving with a man who fits Mark's profile." Anna's chest tightened as her suspicions solidified into grim reality. "What's the plan?" she asked, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. "We're diverting to Bogut," the captain replied. "The authorities will be waiting at the gate. Until then, we need to keep this quiet. If the suspect gets wind of what's happening, it could escalate." Anna nodded, even though he couldn't see her. "Understood. I'll keep watch and report any changes." As the call ended, Anna leaned against the counter, taking a moment to steady herself. When she turned, she found Sophia watching her, concern etched into her face. "Well?" Sophia asked, crossing her arms. Anna exhaled sharply. "It's real. Liam was kidnapped, and Mark's taking him out of the country. We're diverting to Bogut to hand him over to the authorities." Sophia's eyes widened. "Oh my God. What do we do now?" "Stay calm," Anna said, her voice firm. "We keep doing our jobs, but we watch them closely. If Mark gets suspicious, this could get dangerous." Sophia nodded, her jaw tightening with resolve. "I'll cover the rear cabin. You focus on row 18. The cabin remained a sea of quiet activity as passengers occupied themselves with movies, books, and idle chatter. Anna's focus, however, was locked on Liam and Mark. She walked the aisles with practiced ease, her eyes subtly darting toward row 18 with each pass. The boy had fallen asleep, his small head resting against the window, while Mark scrolled through his phone, his expression unreadable. Anna paused near the row, pretending to adjust a tray in the overhead compartment. As she did, she caught sight of something that made her stomach drop. A small, half-empty bottle of pills tucked into the seatback pocket. The label was partially obscured, but the words "sedative" and "use with caution" were clear enough. Her mind raced. Was Mark sedating Liam to keep him compliant? The boy's drowsiness, the unnatural stillness. It all made sense now. She couldn't risk taking the bottle without drawing attention, but she made a mental note of its presence. Moving to the galley, Anna grabbed her phone and discreetly messaged the captain. "Mark has sedatives. Possible drugging. Keep authorities informed." She pressed send, her pulse quickening. Every piece of evidence brought them closer to the truth, but it also heightened the risk of discovery. Midway through the flight, a soft cry broke the stillness. Anna turned to see Liam standing in the aisle, clutching his stomach. Tears streaked his pale face as he wavered unsteadily on his feet. "I feel sick," he whimpered, his voice trembling. Anna rushed to his side, steadying him with a gentle hand. "It's okay, sweetheart," she said soothingly. "Let's get you cleaned up." Mark stood abruptly, his expression a mixture of annoyance and concern. "He's fine," he said quickly. "Probably just air sickness. I'll handle it." Anna's professional instincts flared. "It's no trouble," she said firmly. "He can come with me to the lavatory." Before Mark could protest further, Anna led Liam toward the rear of the plane. The boy clung to her hand, his small fingers trembling against hers. Once inside the lavatory, she crouched to his level. "Liam, listen to me," she said, keeping her voice calm but urgent. "Are you feeling sick because of something you ate, or did you take medicine?" The boy hesitated, his lip quivering. "Uncle Mark gave me pills," he whispered. "He said they'd help me sleep." Anna's heart sank. "How many pills, Liam? Do you remember?" He held up 2 fingers, his hand shaking. 2. He said I had to take them, so I wouldn't cry. Fighting the surge of anger rising in her chest, Anna offered a reassuring smile. "You're very brave for telling me," she said. "I need you to stay strong, okay? We're going to make sure you're safe." Liam nodded, tears welling in his eyes. "Will I see my mom?" Anna's throat tightened, but she forced herself to stay composed. "Yes, sweetheart. You'll see her very soon." As she helped him wash his face and steady himself, Anna formulated a plan. If Liam's condition worsened, she could use it as a pretense to escalate the situation. For now, she needed to keep Mark calm and unaware of the impending diversion. When Anna returned Liam to his seat, Mark shot her a questioning look. "What took so long?" "He needed a moment to settle," Anna replied smoothly, her professional mask firmly in place. "Children often get queasy during long flights." Mark's eyes narrowed slightly, but he said nothing, turning his attention back to his phone. Liam curled up in his seat, clutching the small blanket Anna had given him earlier. His red shoes dangled from the edge of the seat, a poignant reminder of the innocent life caught in the middle of a sinister plot. In the galley, Anna regrouped with Sophia, who was monitoring the rear cabin. "He admitted it," Anna whispered. "Mark gave him sedatives, 2 pills. Sophia's expression hardened. "That's child endangerment. We have to act fast." "We're close to Bogota," Anna said. "I'll inform the captain. Can you keep an eye on Mark? Make sure he doesn't try anything." Sophia nodded. "You got it." As Anna relayed the new information to the cockpit, her resolve deepened. This wasn't just about protocol or professional duty. It was about doing the right thing. A young boy's life was at stake, and Anna was determined to see him safely return to his mother. The captain's voice came over the intercom, smooth and reassuring. "Ladies and gentlemen, due to an unforeseen technical issue, we'll be making a brief stop in Bogota for maintenance. We apologize for the inconvenience and appreciate your patience." The announcement rippled through the cabin, eliciting murmurs of curiosity and mild frustration. Mark shifted in his seat, his jaw tightening. Anna observed him carefully, noting the subtle signs of anxiety. The way his fingers drummed against the armrest, the way his eyes flicked toward the nearest exit. Sophia passed by row 18, offering Mark a drink with her signature warm smile. "Just a little longer," she said cheerfully. "We'll get you back on your way in no time." Mark grunted in response, his suspicion barely concealed. Anna watched as Sophia moved on, her presence a calming force in an increasingly tense situation. As the plane began its descent, Anna felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. Every detail, every decision, would matter in the minutes to come. She glanced toward Liam, who had drifted into a restless sleep, his red shoes still visible beneath the seat. Anna made a silent promise. Whatever it took, she would see this through. The truth was out, and justice was within reach. All they needed was to land. The descent into truth. The captain's announcement had sent ripples of unease through the cabin. Passengers exchanged confused looks, whispers traveling like a wave up and down the aisles. Anna kept her expression neutral as she moved through the plane, reassuring everyone with her professional composure. "It's just a precaution," she told a concerned elderly couple. "Safety is always our top priority." But behind her calm exterior, Anna's mind was racing. The clock was ticking, and every moment brought them closer to Bogota and to an inevitable confrontation. She cast a quick glance toward row 18. Mark sat stiffly, his knuckles white as he gripped the armrest. His sharp eyes darted around the cabin, scanning for what? An escape route. Signs that he'd been caught. His unease was palpable. And then there was Liam. The boy slumped in his seat, his small frame barely filling the space. His breathing was slow but steady, his face pale and drawn. The once cheerful child who had twirled in the terminal in his bright red shoes now looked like a shadow of himself. Anna's chest tightened at the sight. Whatever sedative Mark had given him was still taking its toll, and the boy's vulnerability only strengthened her resolve. The final checks. Back in the galley, Anna and Sophia prepared for landing, their movements quick but deliberate. Sophia's usually cheerful demeanor was replaced by a quiet intensity, her brow furrowed as she handed Anna a stack of cabin announcements. "What's the latest from the cockpit?" Sophia asked, keeping her voice low. "They're coordinating with the authorities in Bogota," Anna replied, glancing over her shoulder to ensure no passengers were listening. "Police and child welfare officers will be waiting at the gate. We just need to make it through the next 20 minutes without tipping Mark off." Sophia nodded, her jaw tightening. "I'll stay near the rear exit during deplanning. If he tries to make a move, I'll be ready." Anna gave her a grateful nod. "Thank you." As Anna finished reviewing her notes, the in-flight phone buzzed softly. She picked it up, her heart pounding as the captain's voice came through the receiver. "Anna, one more thing," he said, his tone unusually tense. "We've been informed that Mark Trent has a history of violence. He's considered dangerous. The authorities have asked us to prioritize passenger and crew safety above all else." Anna swallowed hard, her grip tightening on the phone. "Understood, Captain. We'll keep him calm until we land." As the call ended, Anna took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. She glanced at Sophia, who had been listening intently. "He's dangerous," Anna said quietly. "We need to be extra cautious." Sophia nodded, her expression hardening. "We've got this." A subtle shift. As the plane began its descent, Anna made one last walk through the cabin, ensuring that passengers were buckled in and seated upright. When she reached row 18, she stopped, her professional mask firmly in place. "Sir," she said, addressing Mark, "we're about to land. Please ensure that both you and your son are securely buckled in." Mark looked up, his eyes narrowing slightly. "He's still asleep," he said gruffly. "I don't want to wake him." "It's for his safety," Anna replied evenly, maintaining her calm. "I can assist if needed." Before Mark could protest further, Anna gently adjusted Liam's seatbelt, her hand steady despite the tension coiled in her chest. As she did, she noticed something on the boy's wrist, a faint bruise, partially hidden beneath the sleeve of his sweatshirt. Her stomach churned at the sight, but she kept her expression neutral, careful not to betray her mounting anger. "Thank you," Mark said tersely, his tone clipped. "We're fine now." Anna nodded, stepping back. "Let me know if you need anything." As she continued down the aisle, her mind raced. The bruise, the sedatives, the way Liam had clung to her earlier. It all painted a chilling picture. This wasn't just a case of kidnapping. It was a case of abuse, and Mark was willing to cross international borders to keep his grip on the boy. The landing. The plane's descent was smooth, the cabin filling with the muted roar of the landing gear deploying. Anna remained stationed near the galley, her eyes fixed on row 18. Mark's tension was visible in the tight set of his shoulders and the way he tapped his foot incessantly against the floor. Liam remained motionless, his small body slumped against the window. As the wheels touched down, a collective exhale rippled through the passengers. The captain's voice came over the intercom, calm and professional. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bogota. Please remain seated until the seatbelt sign is turned off. We'll be taxiing to the gate shortly. Mark shifted in his seat, his fingers twitching against the armrest. Anna caught the subtle movement, her instincts flaring. She stepped closer to Sophia, who had positioned herself near the rear of the cabin. "Be ready," Anna murmured. "He's on edge." Sophia nodded, her eyes scanning the aisle for any sudden movements. The confrontation. As the plane came to a stop, the seatbelt sign dinged off, and passengers began gathering their belongings. Anna watched as Mark hastily grabbed his carry-on bag, his movements sharp and deliberate. He leaned down, shaking Liam awake. "Come on," he said, his voice low but insistent. "We're getting off." Liam stirred groggily, his eyelids heavy. "I'm tired," he murmured, his words slurred. Anna stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "Sir, I'd recommend letting the other passengers deplane first. It'll give your son a bit more time to wake up." Mark hesitated, his eyes narrowing. "Why? We're in a hurry." "It's just a suggestion," Anna said with a polite smile. "The aisles can get crowded, and it might be easier for you both to wait." Mark's jaw tightened, but he nodded reluctantly. "Fine." As the last of the passengers filed out, Anna and Sophia exchanged a brief glance. The cabin was eerily quiet now, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. When Mark finally rose, gripping Liam's arm a little too tightly, Anna followed closely. As they stepped onto the jet bridge, chaos erupted. The truth unveiled. A group of plainclothes officers surged forward, their movements swift and precise. "Mark Trent, step aside," one of them said firmly, holding up a badge. "You're under arrest for the abduction of a minor." Mark froze, his face twisting into a mask of shock and rage. "What? This is ridiculous." He snapped. "He's my nephew." "Sir, step aside now," the officer repeated, his tone leaving no room for argument. Mark's grip on Liam tightened, and for a terrifying moment, Anna thought he might resist. But the officers moved quickly, pulling him away from the boy with practiced efficiency. As Mark was restrained, he continued to shout, his voice a mix of anger and desperation. Liam, still groggy, clung to Anna, his small hands gripping her uniform. "Miss," he whispered, his voice trembling, "I want my mom." Anna knelt beside him, her heart breaking at the fear in his eyes. "You're going to see her very soon," she promised, her voice soft but resolute. As the officers led Mark away, Anna rose, keeping Liam close. The boy's red shoes scuffed against the jet bridge floor as they made their way toward the terminal, where a woman stood waiting. Her eyes, red from tears, lit up the moment she saw her son. "Liam," she cried, rushing forward. "Mom." Liam broke free from Anna's grasp, running into his mother's arms. Anna watched the reunion, a mix of relief and exhaustion washing over her. She had done her job, but more than that, she had followed her instincts, and it had made all the difference. The aftermath of survival. The reunion between Liam and his mother, Melissa, unfolded like a fragile yet poignant moment of redemption. Anna stood a few paces back, letting the overwhelming tide of emotions wash over her. Melissa held her son tightly, her tears soaking into his messy hair as she whispered words too soft for Anna to hear. It was a scene that contrasted sharply with the chaos of just minutes ago, when the authorities had taken Mark away in handcuffs. Despite the resolution, Anna's heart remained heavy. The boy in front of her, innocent, confused and scared, had been through more than anyone his age should ever endure. And while he was safe now, the scars of what he'd experienced lingered. Melissa looked up, her eyes locking with Anna's. They were filled with gratitude, exhaustion, and an unspoken plea for guidance. "I don't know how to thank you," Melissa said, her voice cracking. "If it weren't for you." Anna waved her hand gently, cutting her off. "You don't have to thank me," she replied, her voice kind but firm. "I just did what anyone would have done." But deep down, Anna knew that wasn't true. Not everyone would have noticed Liam's subtle cries for help. Not everyone would have acted on a hunch, risking the backlash of being wrong. She pushed the thought aside as Melissa clutched her son closer. The questions begin. The small group was quickly escorted into a private room in the Bogota airport, away from the prying eyes of passengers and media. The space was functional but sterile, with plain white walls and a long metal table in the center. Liam sat close to his mother, his red shoes swinging gently under the chair. He hadn't let go of her hand since they were reunited. An officer entered the room, his demeanor professional but empathetic. "Mrs. Carter," he began, addressing Melissa, "we'll need to take a full statement about the events leading up to your son's disappearance." Melissa nodded, her grip on Liam tightening. "Of course," she said softly. Anna, standing quietly in the corner with Sophia, watched as Melissa recounted the harrowing tale. Her voice wavered as she described the moment she realized Liam was missing from the playground, the frantic calls to the police, and the sleepless nights that followed. She had suspected Mark almost immediately, given his strained relationship with the family, but she hadn't imagined he would go to such lengths. "He told Liam." Melissa paused, her voice breaking. "He told him I'd meet him at the airport. That's why Liam went with him. He thought I'd be there." Anna's chest tightened at the revelation. It explained so much. The boy's confusion, his quiet questions about his mother. Mark hadn't just kidnapped him. He had weaponized Liam's trust. Anna's turn. When the officer turned to Anna, she straightened instinctively, her professional demeanor kicking in. "Miss Hensley," he said, addressing her formally, "we'll need your account as well. From the moment you first noticed anything unusual." Anna recounted everything. The bright red shoes that had first caught her eye in the terminal, the boy's slumped shoulders after Mark whispered to him, the odd interactions on the flight. She detailed the moment Liam had confided in her that Mark wasn't his father, her discovery of the sedatives, and the carefully coordinated landing. Throughout her recounting, the officer listened intently, occasionally jotting down notes. When she finished, he set his pen down and looked at her with an expression that was equal parts admiration and curiosity. "You trusted your instincts," he said. "And you were right. That doesn't always happen. But when it does," he paused, shaking his head, "you likely saved this boy's life." Anna nodded, her emotions catching up with her. For hours, she had been operating on adrenaline, focusing solely on Liam's safety. Now, with the ordeal over, the weight of it all began to settle. Liam speaks. As the officers wrapped up their questioning, Liam spoke for the first time since arriving in the room. His voice was small but clear, cutting through the heavy atmosphere. "Miss Anna," he said, turning to her. Anna knelt beside him, her heart aching at the vulnerability in his eyes. "Yes, Liam. Why did Uncle Mark do this?" he asked, his face scrunching with confusion. "He said it was so I could see my dad. But I don't even like my dad." Anna hesitated, searching for the right words. "Sometimes grown-ups make choices that aren't fair or right," she said gently. "But what matters now is that you're safe and you're back with your mom. She loves you so much." Liam nodded slowly, his gaze dropping to his lap. Melissa reached over, brushing his hair back and planting a soft kiss on his forehead. "You're my brave boy," she whispered. "We're going to be okay." A quiet resolve. After what felt like hours, the questioning ended. The officers assured Melissa that Mark would face charges for the kidnapping, and an investigation into his actions was already underway. Arrangements were made for Melissa and Liam to return to Miami on the next available flight. As Anna and Sophia prepared to return to the plane for their own debriefing, Melissa approached them. "I'll never forget what you did for us," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You didn't just save my son, you saved my world." Anna smiled, though her eyes glistened with unused tears. "He's a special boy," she said. "You both deserve to be happy and safe." Melissa nodded, clutching Liam's hand tightly as they walked away. The boy glanced back once, offering Anna a shy wave. She waved back, her heart swelling with a mix of pride and sadness. Reflections in flight. Later that evening, as the plane soared back toward its destination, Anna sat quietly in the galley, staring out at the dark expanse of sky. Sophia joined her, handing over a cup of tea. "You okay?" Sophia asked, settling into the seat beside her. Anna nodded slowly. "I think so. It's just a lot." Sophia smiled gently. "You were amazing today. Not everyone would have done what you did." Anna sighed, her fingers wrapping around the warm cup. "I just kept thinking about what could have happened if I didn't act, if I ignored my instincts." Sophia placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "But you did act, and that's what matters." As the two sat in companionable silence, Anna let the events of the day replay in her mind. She knew she wouldn't forget Liam's bright red shoes, his quiet bravery, or the look of relief on Melissa's face. But more than anything, she carried with her the reminder that sometimes the smallest actions, an observation, a question, a decision, could change the course of someone's life. And for Anna, that was worth everything. A new flight of hope. The next few days passed in a whirlwind for Anna. Back at her home base, she tried to settle into her usual rhythm, but her thoughts kept drifting to Liam and Melissa. Despite her years of experience, this incident had left a mark deeper than she anticipated. Every moment of that flight, every glance exchanged with Liam, replayed in her mind like a vivid dream she couldn't shake. But life moved on, as it always did. Flights came and went, destinations blurred together, and Anna found herself navigating the skies once more. Still, every time she greeted a new passenger, her eyes lingered a little longer on the children. She checked their smiles, their eyes, their interactions with the adults accompanying them. She couldn't help it. Her instincts had been sharpened, her awareness heightened. An unexpected message. A week after the flight, as Anna prepared for an evening departure to Lisbon, her phone buzzed with a notification. Glancing down, she saw an email from her airline's corporate office. Curious, she opened it, and her heart skipped a beat. The subject line read, "Message from Melissa Carter and Liam." Anna quickly scanned the email, her breath catching as she read Melissa's words. "Dear Anna, I don't know how to begin thanking you for everything you did for Liam and me. It feels surreal to think about what could have happened if you hadn't been there, if you hadn't noticed my son's pain and fear. You saved him. You saved us. Liam is still recovering from the ordeal. He's seeing the counselor now, and I'm doing everything I can to make him feel safe and loved. He talks about you often, how kind you were, how you gave him cookies and listened to him when no one else did. He even keeps asking if you'll be on our next flight, though I've explained how unlikely that is. There's something Liam wanted me to share with you. He drew this for you as a thank you." Attached to the email was a photo of a crayon drawing. Anna clicked on it, her eyes filling with tears as the image appeared. It was simple but heartfelt. A stick figure version of herself in a flight attendant's uniform, holding hands with a smaller stick figure labeled me. Above them, a large airplane soared through a sky filled with fluffy clouds and a bright yellow sun. At the bottom, Liam had written in large, uneven letters, "Thank you for saving me." Anna stared at the picture, her chest tightening. She could almost hear Liam's small, hopeful voice as she read those words. It wasn't just a thank you. It was a reminder of why she did what she did, of the quiet impact she could make in a world that often felt so chaotic. A new resolve. That evening, as Anna prepared for her flight, she found herself filled with a renewed sense of purpose. She had always loved her job, but now it felt deeper, more meaningful. She wasn't just ensuring passenger comfort or guiding people safely from point A to point B. She was part of their stories, their lives, even if only for a brief moment. As the passengers boarded, Anna greeted each one with a smile, her voice warm and inviting. When a young girl with pigtails and a stuffed bunny walked past. Anna crouched down to her level. "Hi there," Anna said, her tone light. "What's your bunny's name?" The girl beamed. "Mr. Fluff," she said proudly, holding the bunny up for Anna to see. "Well, Mr. Fluff is very lucky to have you," Anna replied, winking. "You both enjoy the flight, okay?" The girl giggled and nodded, clutching her bunny tightly as she followed her parents down the aisle. Anna watched them go, a soft smile lingering on her lips. It was a small interaction, but it reminded her of the importance of noticing, of connecting, of caring. The ripple effect. Over the weeks that followed, Anna found herself sharing Liam's story, not the specifics, but the lesson it had taught her, with her colleagues. During briefings and layovers, she encouraged them to trust their instincts, to pay attention to the little things that didn't feel quite right. "You never know what someone might be going through," she told them. "Sometimes just asking a question or offering a smile can make all the difference." Her story resonated, spreading through the airline like a quiet ripple. Other flight attendants began sharing their own experiences of noticing something off and stepping in to help. It became a point of pride within the crew. Their ability to not only serve but to protect and care for their passengers in ways that went beyond the job description. A surprise reunion. Months later, Anna was working a flight from Miami to Chicago when she spotted a familiar pair of bright red shoes boarding the plane. Her heart leaped as she looked up to see Liam and Melissa standing in the aisle, their faces lighting up with recognition. "Miss Anna," Liam exclaimed, his voice bursting with excitement. He broke away from his mother, running up to hug her tightly. Anna crouched down, returning the hug with equal enthusiasm. "Liam, what a wonderful surprise. How are you?" "I'm good," Liam said, grinning. "Mom says we're visiting Chicago for fun, and she said maybe you'd be here. I told her you're everywhere." Anna laughed, her eyes brimming with happy tears. "I'm so glad to see you." Melissa approached, her expression warm and full of gratitude. "Anna," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "I can't believe it's you. It feels like fate." Anna smiled, standing to greet her. "It's wonderful to see you both. How are you holding up?" Melissa nodded, glancing at Liam, who was now chatting animatedly with a nearby passenger about the crayons in his hand. "We're doing well," she said. "He's healing, slowly but surely. And so am I." Anna nodded, placing a reassuring hand on Melissa's arm. "You're both stronger than you know." The journey continues. As the plane soared toward Chicago, Anna found herself seated with Liam for a few minutes, listening as he described his latest drawings and his dreams of becoming a pilot. His laughter was infectious, his joy a stark contrast to the quiet, frightened boy she had first met. When they landed, Liam handed her another drawing, a new one of the two of them flying together in a plane he had labeled Captain Liam's jet. Anna promised to keep it forever, her heart swelling with gratitude for the unexpected connection they had formed. As the terminal doors slid open and Melissa and Liam disappeared into the crowd, Anna felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Life would go on, flights would come and go, but this moment, this chapter of hope and resilience, would stay with her forever. Epilogue. The Legacy of Kindness. Years later, as Anna prepared for retirement, she kept a small box of mementos from her career. Among them was Liam's first drawing, faded but still vibrant with love and gratitude. It reminded her of the power of noticing, of trusting her instincts, and of choosing to care when it mattered most. Liam's story had been just one of many, but it had left an indelible mark on her heart, a reminder that sometimes the simplest acts of kindness could change the course of a life. And as Anna packed her uniform away for the last time, she smiled, knowing that her skies had always been, and would always be, full of hope. A new chapter of hope. As the terminal doors slid open and Melissa and Liam disappeared into the bustling crowd, Anna lingered near the gate, watching their retreating figures. It was a bittersweet moment. Liam had transformed from the frightened child she met months ago into a lively, curious boy, his red shoes a symbol of resilience and hope. The memory of his laughter as they shared stories on the flight lingered in her mind, a vivid reminder of why she loved what she did. Sophia approached, her suitcase trailing behind her. "You good?" she asked, her voice soft with understanding. Anna nodded, a wistful smile touching her lips. "Yeah, I'm good. It's just, I didn't expect to see them again. It felt like closure." Sophia smiled knowingly. Sometimes, the universe gives you exactly what you need, even when you don't know you need it. Life moves forward. The weeks following her reunion with Liam and Melissa were filled with new flights and new faces, but the memory of their story stayed with Anna. She made it a point to pay extra attention to the children she encountered, to look for the small, subtle signs that something might be wrong or right. Her colleagues noticed the shift in her demeanor, the way she seemed to carry herself with even more purpose than before. When asked about it, she would smile and say, "It's amazing what you can change by simply noticing." Anna's story began to circulate among the airline staff, not as gossip but as a tale of quiet heroism. It inspired her peers to approach their jobs with fresh eyes and a renewed sense of care. They started calling it Anna's rule. If something feels off, it probably is. Trust your instincts. A final surprise. One crisp autumn morning, Anna received a thick envelope in the mail. The return address was unfamiliar, but the handwriting sparked a flicker of recognition. She opened it carefully, her heart pounding as she pulled out a stack of papers and a handwritten note. "Dear Anna, I hope this letter finds you well. Liam and I wanted to share something special with you." As part of his healing, Liam's therapist suggested he write about his experiences. At first, it was difficult for him to put his feelings into words, but eventually, he found a way to express his story. He titled it "The Lady with the Sky Shoes." "We thought you might like to read it. I can never thank you enough for what you did, but I hope this story reminds you of how much of a difference you made in our lives. With love and gratitude, Melissa and Liam." Anna's eyes brimmed with tears as she read Liam's story. It was written in the innocent, straightforward language of a child, describing his journey with surprising clarity and heart. He wrote about the red shoes, the flight, and how he had felt scared but safe when Miss Anna had smiled at him and called him brave. The last line of the story struck Anna the most. "Sometimes, when I feel scared, I think about her sky shoes and her sky voice. I think she was my angel." Anna closed the story, pressing it to her chest as a wave of emotion swept over her. She couldn't have asked for a better gift, a reminder that her actions, however small they might have seemed at the time, had created ripples of hope and healing, a legacy in the skies. Years later, as Anna packed up her uniform for the last time, she reflected on her career. Her walls were lined with photos, awards, and keepsakes from her travels, but one piece stood out above the rest. Liam's drawing, framed and hanging near her desk. Below it, the words from his story were written in elegant script. "She was my angel." As Anna zipped up her suitcase for the final time, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had spent her life navigating the skies, connecting with people from every corner of the world, and in that vast expanse of humanity, she had found her purpose, not just to serve, but to notice, to care, and to protect. As she left her home and walked toward a new chapter of her life, the memory of Liam's red shoes and his joyful laughter stayed with her. They were a symbol of the extraordinary moments hidden within the ordinary, a reminder that even in the vast skies, one person's actions could shine like a beacon of hope. Anna stepped outside, the breeze catching her hair as she gazed up at the endless blue above. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't flying toward a destination, but the sky would always be a part of her, just as Liam's story would always be a part of her heart. And somewhere out there, she knew, was a boy with red shoes and a bright smile, living a life full of promise, his story forever intertwined with hers.